Hello and welcome back to the Punchers Chance podcast, and welcome to the preview show where we have a look forward to what's coming up this weekend, which this weekend is, of course, Nick Ball versus Brandon Figueroa. We're also going to be talking about Tyson Fury's big comeback fight. So if you like the sound of that, stick around. Podcast every week, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, all that good stuff. Straight into the action. Nick Ball. He's great, isn't he? He's been our steady hand, our steady ship as British boxing fans. He's kept that world title. Such a good run. I'm looking forward to this one.
100%. I think we were talking beforehand, before we press record, that Nick Ball is sort of that fighter that's been keeping us with hope at the world level at the moment. And the sort of fighter that, is it hard to say that he hasn't really been given the recognition by wider boxing fans for the sort of fights and wins that he's had in his career. And listen, it's been a hell of a ride for him. You know, we go back to that Ray Vargas draw where he made that first step up. He didn't look out of place that night against a guy that was miles taller than him.
He looks a little bit out of place, but not from a boxing point of view.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's just been on an upward trajectory, and he's returning to Liverpool on Saturday night. He's got a tough opponent in front of him. And I honestly think that when you talk about unification on the horizon for for Nick Ball, you wouldn't have
called him Ben because he looks similar, did you?
I called him Ben. Yeah, well, yeah, because Ben does look like a little bit like him. But no, for Nick, the unification fights are there for him. But if he was wanting that sort of unification fight, you wouldn't want this as your sort of, right, keep warm, let's keep active sort of fight. You would have wanted an easier fight. And Brandon Figueroa, for people that haven't watched him, he's very tough. Ignore the Stephen Fulton fights. They've been put aside. For me, he's one of my favourite fighters to watch. And I think Nick Ball's going to have a tough night on Saturday night. Do I think he's going to win? Probably, yeah. We'll find out later in the podcast. But I feel like Figueroa can ask questions of him again. And the other thing as well that I want to talk about, Nick Ball, Liverpool.
Yeah.
The pressures of fighting in your hometown and all that. He hasn't experienced that as, you know, he's gone from Liverpool to Saudi, Liverpool, whatever way around it was. He's now fighting in Liverpool, and you would expect if there's no sort of big Riyadh season cards happening there as of yet this year, you probably see him main eventing in Liverpool for the foreseeable. It's just great to see him back, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I think it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, I think it's definitely got rounds in it.
100%.
I think it does go the distance. Obviously, like you said, I won't give away who necessarily I think is going to win, but going back to Nick Ball, that run, I was looking at it beforehand, the run he's had since pre the Vargas fight against Isaac Dogbo, it's been a generational run. You know, Isaac Dogbo, Ray Vargas, who's a genuine champion, who I still believe he beat on that night. Ray Ford, who was a champion at the time, beat him on that night pretty well. Ronnie Rios, great fighter. TJ Doheny, top, really difficult fighter. When you look at, you know, what Inoue had to do to get through him, you know, he's a really difficult fighter. Sam Goodman's a top champion. He beat all those guys, and he did so either on points or in the distance, and to show that kind of the ability to do both, I think is really, really impressive. And it's why he's kept a world title around his waist for as long as he has, because he's got many strings to his bow. And
I feel like he's Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
You know, I think the sort of appearances, the sort of outings that he's had, what was it, 2 times last year, 3 times in 2024 from memory. Yeah. So he's been active, and that's what you want from a sort of world champion now. You don't want him to be on the shelf just waiting for big fights. So I take my hat off to him for taking this Figueroa fight, because I really do think Figueroa's going to ask a lot of questions of Nick Ball on Saturday night, because I do think he's decent, and he's decent enough to cause problems and issues for Nick Ball. And you touched upon before we went live about Tyson Fury. You know, God made him 5'2" for a reason, because if you're a heavyweight, you want to avoid Nick Ball all the time. If you get offered a
6'2" Nick Ball is
a scary man.
You know, there's gorillas in the jungle that should be scared of that proposition. He's a serious fighter.
Yeah, it is. But the only thing is about this card that I feel like, you know, I'm going to watch it on Saturday night. I'm excited for the main event, but it seems a little bit like it's a main event sort of card for Queensberry, and they haven't got off to the best starts for 2026. Obviously had for me, an incredible night in Germany for Ajit Kabayel.
It's a tune in at 9 o'clock job, this one, isn't it?
100%. Well, with Queensbury, it's probably 10 o'clock mines.
Yeah, it's
with the way the shows go.
Well, yeah, fair point. But no, yeah, they've got some good stuff coming. Like you said, the Kabayel fight was good. Magnificent Seven, shame it got delayed. You know, we'll get that eventually. The St. Paddy's Day card we've mentioned a couple of times is really, really good. Looks like a quality card, but this one's as Queensbury as it gets. You know, it is. There's loads of fights on there, and the vast majority of them, you go, yep, him, all the way up to the left hand side until you get to maybe the last two push. It's frustrating to watch, I think, but you are there for Nick Bull, realistically.
I think, well, and that's the thing. That's how much of a big character he is probably in Liverpool, where you don't really have to stack the undercard to get people in to watch it. You know, that's what some fights have to do at that world level. You know, not a lot of people are interested in the world champion. They're interested in the undercard.
Yeah, I think it's weird though. I think that's maybe why he hasn't got those big unification fights on big cards in Wembley or things like that. He hasn't had, because he sells tickets well in Liverpool. They can stick him on top of a card in a good title defence. He'll entertain. He gets the crowd excited, and it puts on a good event. So he'd almost be wasted, you know, at 5 o'clock in Wembley, like we've seen with some other quality
Josh
fighters.
Padley, Mark Chamberlain, what a fight that was. No one was there to see it. Yeah,
exactly. So I think he's been hindered somewhat by that, but I do hope he gets that unification fight. I think Angelo Leo, if he gets through this one, is the fight for me. I think there's two exciting big hitters
in Liverpool for you, or over in the States.
I think in Liverpool. I think if Queensbury want to make that fight in Liverpool with Nick Bull as the main event, he's got the pull. I think they could do that, definitely, and particularly the kind of credit he's got in the bank from the fights he's had, that run I mentioned being so impressive. I'd be absolutely inclined to say they could and should do that in Liverpool for him. But you know, if he travels away and does it, I think he's good enough to go away and get a result as well. So we'll have to see. But I'm not wanting to talk him through this Brandon Figueroa fight too early, because, like
it's not the fight that you overlook, is it?
It's not an easy fight. Exactly. I mean, as we say, we shouldn't overlook any fight. You shouldn't plan ahead. So we'll have to park that one for a moment while we go on to the predictions, or we'll go to the predictions at the end. For the meantime, Tyson Fury is back.
Oh my God! Shock face. Oh,
shock face for the thumbnail. Nobody was surprised at.
It was a matter of time, wasn't it? Where Tyson Fury sort of was teasing us on his sort of Instagram. You know, he was in Thailand training. He had a Chinese heavyweight sparring him and all that, and then all of a sudden we get an announcement. What was it? Thursday last week, that he's returned. Huge shock. You know, is it a huge shock for some people? Probably, because for some they probably thought, yeah, this is it. You know, he hasn't come back after a year. This is the end of Tyson Fury. But to come back, you know, we haven't even said who he's fighting. Arslanbek Makhmudov. Yeah. To come back against him is like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there will be a day where Tyson Fury hangs up the gloves eventually, and everyone will go, yeah, good one, mate. And it'll be like the boy who cried wolf. And then the time you'll kind of wake up one morning and go, he's not coming back, is he? But yeah, like you say, Makhmudov for your first fight back, I think it's an interesting one, because, you know, there are two things that are a guarantee in life. The left-hand side will win on a Queensbury undercard, and Mother Time. She always comes knocking, and
tax.
Well, that as well, yeah. Well, unless you live in certain areas of the world, I'll hook you up with the guy. So you know, I think Mother Time, you know, eventually will come, and Tyson Fury, it's almost like he'll wake up one morning and he just won't have it anymore, and that might not be noticeable in sparring, it might not be notable in the camp, but you get in that ring on fight night and you're way off the pace. We've seen it so many times, and
it's a horrible place to be, my Nina.
Makhmudov is good enough that if Tyson Fury's, you know, coming towards the end of his career and just not able to provide the same level of performance, then it will be a long night and it will be a mistake. Yeah. But equally, in the same vein, with the confidence and the momentum he's got off the back of that Dave Allen win, if he does come through this fight, then it's a big win for him. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a good performance. So we'll have to wait and see.
And the thing I looked at as well was Netflix. I was like, oh, hang on a minute. What's happened here? Is Frank Warren and Tyson Fury talking? Are they friends? And all that. I'm getting excited a little bit. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it.
Do tell.
Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul was where? On
Netflix.
Correct. Tyson Fury, Arslanbek Makhmudov is on
Netflix.
And what does that mean? we're getting Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury finally, surely.
No.
On Netflix.
I don't think so.
No? What a way to ruin the mood.
Yeah, so I don't see a world where DAZN let Anthony Joshua still as a matchroom fighter fight. For Jake Paul, you go on then. Go have fun at the circus. Let us know when you're back ready for the theatre.
Bring us back some candy floss or something.
Yeah. Go to the pantomime, but we've got some serious theatre coming back here.
What, you're saying that the pantomime I went and seen at Christmas time wasn't serious?
Well, whatever floats your boat, but I just
Jack and the
can't see.
Beanstalk I want to watch. If
I can't see DAZN letting Anthony Joshua fight on Netflix again. They'll get up that contract and there'll be this tiny little bit of fine print at the back page that's sort of been Tipexed over that says, this is why you have to fight on DAZN. Will we get that Tyson Fury fight? I don't know. Obviously, things have happened with AJ and his situation. It's kind of the ball's in his court a little bit. In the meantime, I'm happy to see Fury back, get a decent fight out of the way, hopefully against Makhmudov, and then he has a shot at some top fighters as a kind of final hurrah or set up for an AJ fight. But I think you are a little bit hopeful.
I get a bit
suggesting that.
And obviously, we haven't touched on AJ released obviously that emotional video last week, and also he looked like he was in the gym as well. I've seen a clip of him, so fingers crossed he can find a way back into the sport, and let's hope that fight does happen, because I think, like we said all along, I don't think it's a fight the whole world is interested in watching now, because I think they're both at their best. They should have fought each other. Now that they're not fighting for a world title, I don't think it makes a lot of interest worldwide. But for Britain, that stops traffic. How many times have we seen boxing in the front page of a newspaper?
Yeah.
It's not that often. No. And I feel like that fight, especially into the build-up, will be on the front of every single newspaper, because it will stop traffic. And it makes non-boxing fans talk about it. But for Tyson Fury to have a comeback fight against Makhmudov isn't a given.
No, it's not.
He's not going to be handed the win, I don't think. And he's going to have to probably bite down on his gum shield, and probably I'm expecting it a 10-rounder. I doubt it's a 12-rounder.
No, I do think that Tyson Fury, as long as he hasn't sort of drastically fallen off in the way I suggested, should be winning this fight. Yeah. The matchmaking on it is a good Tyson Fury, a decent Tyson Fury should be able to box the absolute head off Arslanbek Makhmudov. And we've seen, and he's shown a chin, that Makhmudov's power shouldn't cause him any great problems. So from that point of view, I absolutely see why they've done it. And you have to bang, but we just don't know how good Tyson Fury is going to be. I hope he's at his best still, but I just think, like I say, one day that is going to come, and like I said, he'll retire and we'll go, yeah, no chance. And I hope he doesn't retire because we've all just seen him flattened and we go, yeah, of course he's retired because he's just been sparked out. That's not how I want him to go. And I would have been more than happy for him to walk away after the Usyk fights, and I think that was the best time to go. But we know what he's like. He was always going to come back, and hopefully he gets through this one, has another great fight, hopefully against AJ, and then we can finally call it a day once and for all.
Fingers crossed. Should we get into predictions for this Nick Ball card?
Let's do it. Boxing News app.
It's just loading for me now.
For this one, we always do our predictions on the Boxing News app, so we'll have a look.
It's not on there.
Never mind. So we won't be doing the predictions on the Boxing News app. We'll just go through it here.
Hang on. For the audio listeners, what was that? You didn't just throw me across the floor.
No, I've just launched my phone across the room. We're binning that off. We're going straight into
Should we
predictions.
just start throwing everything in the room now? Like the plants?
Throw the plants, throw the mics. Just, why not? Nick Ball points decision. But I do think I wouldn't say 8-4. Something like that. I'm going to 116, 112 type fight. Nick Ball. I think he'll be the notable winner without ever looking like he was going to run away with the fight.
Do you think he has to start strong in it as well? Or do you reckon with the expected reach advantage that Figueroa is going to have, probably he has to build himself into the fight?
He does always start quite energetic, quite ready for it. He's quite a quick starter, Nick Ball. He doesn't, and like you say, he kind of has to build into the fight, particularly when there is, I think, 5'9" Figueroa, so sort of 7-inch advantage. So he will have to build into it slightly, but he still has to start quick. And he does tend to. And yeah, I think, those championship rounds, he always seems to do the business. Either he kind of stops them heading into those championship rounds, or he closes it out in those championship rounds, which is good to see. Andrew Cain, I expect to get through his fight, which I think is a WBC silver. So it's essentially not likely to be fighting Joshua John for the British title. So we'll have to see what happens there.
Maybe Joshua John's fighting for the British title.
Just against, it is vacant, so maybe against somebody else.
Just saying.
Jack Turner, I love Jack Turner. I think he's a top fighter. We've waxed lyrical about him in the past.
Stoppage? Hang on, for Andrew Cain, points decision?
Yeah, I'd say so. And I expect Turner to get the stoppage again. I think, he is a top fighter. Though I have just seen let me double check something before we go into that.
Oh, no.
He's Nicaraguan. He's not Argentinian.
Okay, stoppage.
You do not stop an Argentinian. You can stop a Nicaraguan.
And you can also stop an Argentinian as well, by the way.
You can't.
You can.
Any Argentinian who gets stopped in a boxing ring, it can't have been Argentinian.
What, are you going to personally fly over there, check their passport, check their birth certificate?
It's the family tree you need to check out. There'll be some
ancestry you're going on.
Yeah. Okay. 23andMe. There'll be something. Other services are available if they want to sponsor us. There's other means of. You don't stop them, but Nicaraguans you do. I think Jack Turner will get the stoppage, and I'm looking forward to see what Brad Strand can do in there as well. I think that's when I'll probably aim to turn it on for the Brad Strand fight. That's
probably the main card there. Let's be honest.
You're not turning it on at 2:00 in the afternoon to sit down?
Potentially.
You're busy that day.
I might be watching a certain England versus Wales match.
Mm-hmm.
Wales going for the Grand Slam. Come on. We're not.
No.
We'll be very lucky to win.
No. I got Wales. I've got what Wales are going to get in my kitchen drawer, unfortunately.
A gold medal?
No, I don't know. That's in the bedside table. It's a wooden spoon. But this isn't a rugby podcast. This is a boxing podcast.
Yeah. Who's going to get the wooden spoon this weekend in boxing?
Brandon Figueroa.
Okay.
Frank Warren's matchmaker. That's who deserves the wooden spoon.
Leeton.
Give us, whoever puts these guys, give us some better, man. Give us some. We're giving you a little bit of leeway because you've given us the St. Paddy's Day. You've given us the Magnificent Seven, which I'm really looking forward to. But we've got to be doing better than this.
And
we've got to be doing better than this. With that, we'll be bringing you guys the review of this card and the preview of whatever fights are next weekend.
It
might be a quiet weekend. We're bringing you podcasts next week regardless. We've had quite a day today.
Hopefully
and
Ben's back as well.
Brought you, hopefully, to talk about his twin, Nick Bull. But if you like the sound of that, then stick around for that. Subscribe or follow us on Spotify if you prefer the audio versions. Other than that, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
Punches chance. Punches Chance Podcast.